We're not basing this on people. We're not egocentric anymore. We're not believing that we're a big deal anymore. We're not. We're looking at what is life doing. So, for example, let's look at what life's doing right now, okay? And I've talked about this other times, but it's a great example. What are many of the trees doing right now? What are the leaves doing? Falling. Changing colors and falling, right? So they're changing, and they're letting go. Okay, do the trees choose to do that, or does the force of nature bring that about in the trees? Nature brings it about. Nature brings change, does it not? Okay, the nature of things is for them to change, for them to let go. Great example of it, all right? Is there anybody here that's not dying right now? No. Okay? Even if we're in complete harmony with everything that's going on, is there something in us that's dying? Yeah. Is that event happening to that degree? Is that a personal choice? No. Can you accelerate that? Yes, you can accelerate that by hanging on, because that creates a resistance to the force of life, right? And you can also accelerate that by running away, being anxious, being fearful, which is another form of hanging on. Either way, that accelerates it. So what I want you to understand is that personal choice, except for arbitrary, superficial things, you know what I mean? And what does that incorporate? You know what? Well, what shirt am I going to wear today? You know, am I going to have a glass of water or a glass of beer every now and again? I mean, things that you know intuitively. I mean, we're kind of getting to the end of the class here. I assume that we have a general context of what really is meaningful and what is not meaningful. You know, does it all have some meaning? Yeah, but you know, we can't get mixed up in too much minutia. We miss the big picture of things. You know what matters and you know what doesn't. You know what choices matter and you know which ones don't. And if you don't, you'll get it. You keep practicing. Have the intention of God telling you which ones really matter and which ones don't. But mathematically, you're giving yourself a higher level of resistance by living from free will than you are if you live in a space of surrender. What is life showing me? Life is showing me that at some point in my life, I'm going to lose everybody I love. Isn't life showing us that? How many of you are living, practicing complete peace around that? How many of you are actively living, practicing complete peace around that? Be honest, show of hands. Good. Okay? The ones of you who aren't, guess what you're using? You're using what? Free will. That's free will. That's a great example of it. It's free will. You are choosing to not deal with and come to peace with one of the most blatant processes going on around you that in history has caused you the most pain and discomfort emotionally than anything else in your entire life. And it's an inevitability. Only something as wonderful as free will allows that. That's ignorant. But how many of you know what television show is on? How many of you know how much your credit card bill is? How many of you know a lot of other things, right? How many of you practice, a lot of other things, right? But the biggest, most blatant things you don't want to practice. Because why? Because why? I don't want to. Because I don't want to think about that. Okay, but just because you're not thinking about it, does it mean it's not happening? That's free will. You have to let go of that way of operating in life, and you have to just be with life on life's terms. And life's terms is, thy will be done. There will be life, there will be death, there will be change. So let's look at another one, okay? How many people still view themselves as getting older? Getting older. Okay, normal, right? We make the decision to say, well, I'm getting older. How many people have a really positive experience when they say they're getting older? How many people see that as positive? One. Okay, yeah. Some do, some don't, right? But some see getting older as, they associate it with losing ability to do things. Okay, and there's an association with things. Why? Because we have a history of seeing people get older, and when they get older, this is what happens to them. Okay? So we believe that, and then we program it. That doesn't mean at some point we're all not going to go through form change and things aren't going to be different for us. No, we're all going to go through form change. But I don't believe it's appropriate to choose to believe that I'm going to be a certain way when I get older. Simply because I've gotten so much younger. And I have, many times talked about my personal experiences. I've been healed of too many things that I shouldn't have been healed of to believe that it's going to go a certain way. But if I believe in free will predominantly, and I believe in my choice, right, that keeps me invested in what I believe, all right? And it keeps me small. It keeps me thinking about things from a very small perspective. It keeps me focused on who? Me. Now, yeah, can we use free will to think about other people? Yeah, we can. But most decisions, free will decisions are based from a perspective of how I'm seeing it. So by the nature of where you're making them from, it tends to take you out of your intuition, is my point. And we're all about being in our intuition. So any practice of living that takes us out of it, we want to let go of that practice and get into a practice that takes us into it. In free will decision-making processes, making a lot of decisions from personal choice, personal place of interest, it doesn't serve the highest good as much as making them from a place of enlightenment. What's best? So I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that there's a better way to be with it, that's all. And sometimes there is little personal choices, but we're not talking about those.